everybody, welcome to Country Girl with Kathy Jarvis. And it's becoming a little bit cooler outside. Fall is just around the corner. Some people have it already. We're getting some temperatures in the low 40s at night. It's been a roller coaster. It might be cool one day and 90 degrees the next day. So this is a good time to go out and clean out any birdhouses that you have. Take them down, wash them out with water. Don't use any insecticide or any disinfect. Just wash. If you have to use soap and water, that's fine, but make sure you rinse them out really well. And just clear them out and bring them in and repair them or repaint them if they need it. Now, if you're new to birdhousing, you might be thinking, that's a good idea. I think I'll put some birdhouses out. Remember that not all birds like to have houses. I was on Amazon looking for a new bluebird house because my old one is it's pretty old and it's starting to fall apart. And I found advertisements for hummingbird birdhouses, cardinals, blue jays. Okay, first of all, those three types of birds do not use houses. The ones that use houses are usually the bluebird, the chickadee, the titmouse, the nuthatch, the house wrens, and the Carolina wrens, the swallows, the barn swallows, tree swallows, purple martins, the house finch, starlings, the crested flycatcher, the flicker, the woodpecker, the downy woodpecker and the red-headed woodpecker, the hairy woodpecker, screech owls, and saw-whet owls, barn owls, and the wood duck, and the American kestrel, I guess Kestrel, according to my book on birds. Those are the ones that you can get birdhouses for. And another thing you gotta remember is not all birds are the same as far as what they like in their housing. They have requirements that they prefer, and if your house doesn't meet that requirement, they won't go there. Why would you want to bring birds into your yard? Well, the bluebirds consumes beetles and grasshoppers and caterpillars, so they're great for having in the garden. Your sparrows will take care of your wasps and other winged pests, and the owls consume the rats and mice, and sometimes even snakes. So they're a good thing to have in your yard and around the garden. Now, the different things you have to look for in a birdhouse is the width, how wide it is at the bottom, how tall it is, what type of entrance hole it has, and any protection for it. So these are some of the things that each bird has that they like, and I will include a chart in here that tells you what size to make the floor, what size to look for on the depth of the box, what the right opening should be. I'll put that chart into this video. Now, most of the problems that you find on birdhouses that you order online is that they're not specifically made for the bird. They're more made for us to look at and to enjoy. But the bird, nope, not always made for them. So when you look for a birdhouse, look for one, find the bird that you want. Like I'm hunting for bluebirds. And bluebirds have really lost a lot of their natural habitat, so they really need the help. So I was looking for a floor that was 5 by 5 with a depth of 8 inches, the height of the entrance to be 6 inches, and the hoe itself to be 1.5 inches. And I did find that on Amazon, and it was marked for a bluebird, so they knew what they were doing on this one. So I found this, and there's some things that you need to look at when you're buying a box. It should have an overhang roof to keep the rain from going in. It should have a ventilation hose. This one's got ventilation across here, across front, and across there. It should have an 1.5-inch hoe, and it should have a block in front of the hoe. You notice this is stuck out about 3/4 of an inch. This is to keep the raccoons from reaching in there and grabbing the little babies. Another thing it should have is some openings so you can clean it out easily. And there should be some little grooves back in the back for the little birds to be able to grab a hold of so they can crawl out. And actually this one's got in the front, which is actually even better because it's closer to where the entrance hoe. And the little babies, they grab onto this and they pull themselves up to get to the hoe, and then they go on their first flight. This one also has a little screen netting here, and that is to keep the birds off of the ground, off the floor, and it allows for any water that does get in to get into that part and run out without drowning your birds. And it should be able to be mounted on a post or on a pole. I don't want to put mine on a post, so I got this one. Now, what kind of material should you look for? Wood. Cedar, pine, or fir are the preferred woods for a birdhouse. You can also use cement and terracotta. Stay away from the metal ones. The metal ones get too hot in the summer and too cold in the winter. They have no insulation. Wood's good and has good insulation. Now, another thing is they like rustic things. So a lot of people just prefer the rustic brown color of the wood. You can stain it, you can paint it, but do not paint the inside or stain the inside. Leave that natural. Don't put any varnish, don't put anything on the inside. That should be natural only. Now, a lot of people say that the bird likes its own color. Like bluebirds will go to a bluebird box and stuff like that. I don't know if that's true or not. I do know that I did paint my bluebird one I had before. I painted it blue, and it was faux a bluebird, you know, birds. So I'm going to be painting this one blue on the outside, and just that's a little extra protection for it. Now, when I get ready to mount this for a bluebird, and each bird likes its own different ways. The bluebird likes to have its home at least 4 to 7 feet off the ground, and it likes to face east, and it likes to be able to come out into the open, but it wants to have some thickets or something, trees or something around close by so it can go into the for protection. The chickadees, titmice, they should be placed 10 to 15 feet away from any dense shrubbery. Purple martins prefer open fields and higher up. And the sparrows, they want to be next to water. Heavier birdhouses should be put on posts or mounts. The lighter, smaller ones for wrens can be put, can hang from trees. For safety reasons, all birdhouses should at least be at 5 feet above the ground. And if you have problems with cats and squirrels, you can put a inverted metal funnel-like around the post. It should extend about 10 inches away from the post, and that will help discourage the cats and squirrels from going, and it should be about 18 inches up on the post. And I already talked about the raccoon protection with the little 3/4 inch block in front of the hoe to keep them from being able to reach in. Another threat that comes for the birds are other birds. And they recommend that you do not have this perch. I couldn't find one that didn't have a perch that met all my other requirements, but I can cut this perch off without any problem. And that is because the other birds will come and they'll rest here and have easy access coming in. And also, as the babies get older, you might want to put something in front of the hoe and just tack it to the front so it's like this piece of cardboard or something, and that keeps the other birds from seeing the entrance. They don't know it's there, so they don't go in and try to break the eggs. A lot of birds will go in, they'll peck holes in the bluebird's eggs to destroy them, and then they'll build their nest right on top of those broken eggs. So you kind of got to protect the bluebirds a little. Timing, when do I put this birdhouse out? Usually they should be out by February, mid-February at the latest. I usually don't put them out in the winter time. You can, but if you do, you want to cover that hole to keep mice from going up in there. So put them out in no later than March, okay? And all your birds are going to need food, water, and shelter. If they don't have that, you can have the prettiest birdhouse in the world, the best birdhouse in the world, and you're not going to get any birds. So you might want to add a feeder near where they're at and a source of water. Again, when you're talking about feeders, some of them like to eat hanging feeders, some like to eat mounted feeders, and some like to eat off the ground. Your nuthatchers, your chickadees, your finches, and your titmice all prefer hanging feeders, where your sparrows, your towies, the doves, and the cardinals, they prefer to eat off the ground. Sunflower seeds are what they all love, but they will also eat cracked corn and mixed seeds. The woodpeckers, they prefer those soot blocks or peanut butter. Just get an old pine cone, put peanut butter on, and your woodpecker will be really, really happy. And like I said, this is the time of year to go out and clean those boxes out, repaint them if they need it, bring them in, and leave them in for a little bit so they're not, if you don't have them out in the winter, they're going to last longer. Let's put that away. So, hope you decide to help out the bluebirds. Like I said, the perfect little bird house. 5 inches across the bottom square, 8 to 10 inches box depth, 1.5 inch hole, the guard to keep the raccoons out if you have raccoons, and I do have raccoons. And then I'm going to mount this 5 to 10 feet off the ground. And the distance between birdhouses, that is another one. I have 3 birdhouses within 25 feet of each other. And only one of them has a bluebird in it. And that's normal. Bluebirds boxes can be put up 15, 20 foot apart. But then that's a pair. And then after that, another pair can be put in 100 yards away. If you get them too close, the birds will fight with each other and be territorial. And what you can do is, like I said, when you put up the 2 pair boxes, only expect one to have a bluebird in it. The other one may have a wren or a chickadee or something else in it, but there'll be only one bluebird, usually. They're not like purple martins that like to live in colonies. They're more separate. So I hope that you will help the bluebirds out and get a birdhouse, one that they like. Have some food nearby for them, have some trees for them, or bush, shrub or something that they can go into. And remember, the shrub needs to be tall enough too to protect it. You know, this 5 foot tall is almost needed to protect them from the cats and squirrels and stuff. So, like, share, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye, everybody.